You don't have an EV at the moment in India, but do you think that you'll do something about it?
Nissan Tama happened in 1940s.
Nissan, where do you think, how does it stand out from a sea of rivals out there?
We are talking only when we are ready, and when we are ready, we are showing you things. Well, Tekton's coming soon.
Hi guys, today we're at the head office of Nissan Motor India, and here we're with the big boss, the MD, Saurabh Vatsa. So Saurabh sir, thank you so much for your time, first of all.
Thank you.
Today we'll ask you a
Pleasure
lot
to
of
have you here.
Today we'll ask him a lot of questions because it's a very interesting time. It's a time of great opportunity and also a few challenges for the industry. So we'll ask him a few questions. Sir, my first question is for you. That you've been at the helm now for a couple of years, and you've really seen Nissan change in the last couple of years. You've got in a lot of products. What do you think has been the big dynamic change of the journey, and also what excites you about Nissan right now and for the future?
I think I'll start with the second question first, Ashish. It's more exciting to have more products for sure. And that's what we've been building up the runway for. Magnite was one of our very successful base fundamental pillars of investing in India. And we've announced very clearly that we're getting 3 more new products after the Magnite. And we just rolled out the Gravite, which is a BMPV 7-seater, and we are now working towards the CSUV 5-seater and the 7-seater.
Okay.
So obviously this means there's a lot of activity, both in terms of internal activity and preparedness for launching all the new vehicles, but also externally we are expanding our network. So there's a lot of network expansion activity which is going on. So obviously all of this adds to excitement, but also a lot of preparedness in terms of being absolutely clear when to do what, so that we are rolling the cars one after the other. 3 cars in 12 months, you can see the excitement.
Correct. Also, Saurabh, India is one of the most competitive markets in the world globally. I think you've got a lot of cost competitiveness. Also, a lot of global players are there. Nissan, where do you think, how does it stand out from a sea of rivals out there? And what makes it more dynamic, maybe say from some of your rivals? Where do you see the plan for the next couple of years?
I think truly if you look at Nissan, it offers value, right? And it also brings in a lot of Japanese reliability, styling, design DNA, which is coming from our Japanese homerooms. So the customers clearly looking for these kind of attributes and values when they are buying the cars, when they come to the showroom. In terms of offerings, you can see that we are now offering 10-year extended warranties. These are valid on, for example, transmissions and engines, which is a very big focus of offering both in terms of reliability and assurance, peace of mind. And at the same point in time, we are also trying to make sure that the entire technical prowess of Japanese engineering from Nissan is brought to the fore and offered to the consumer.
Okay.
Of course, the styling and the feature packing is something which is very important. Like we've been doing, we are I would say more money for value rather than value for money at the moment. And that's a very important aspect of our positioning, that when we go from one segment to 4 segments with 4 different vehicles, each segment we should be able to offer money for value to the consumer. That means they should be able to pay for what they are asking for and they're getting.
Okay. Now, talking about money for value, as you say, let's talk about the Gravite for a moment because it's your latest launch, it's your latest baby. How do you, pitch it to a customer who's coming in maybe for a 7-seater MPV, or maybe who's a first-time Nissan buyer, or maybe someone who's just graduating from a smaller car? So how do you pitch it to them?
So all the 3 customers that you just said, we are getting them in the showroom. We're getting first-time buyers, we're getting people who have large families or small businesses. We are also getting people who want to look at both a small SUV, BSUV and a BMPV. And interestingly, they are making this decision to go for one on the floor after looking at the car. And this is very interesting because we are seeing it for the first time in our showrooms. It's not that we hadn't planned it, but we are seeing it in the showroom. A lot of BSUV customers are coming in. They look at the CSUV. They look at a new car, not a CSUV, sorry, a BMPV. And they look at a new car. They get excited with it. The family likes it. And they go for a BMPV, which is interesting. Even though they may be a family of 4 or 5 at the moment, but the opportunity and the flexibility that they see with a BMPV, because we have 2 completely removable seats at the back, that excites the family for options of travel, going out, adding more friends or family.
Utility value,
depending
that's what
on.
you're saying, yeah.
So it's pretty interesting to see the consumer kind of playing with the car. And on the shop floor, actually deciding that, oh, I'm looking at this body style or that body style, these feature sets or flexibility. And that's a very interesting comparison which is happening on the shop floor. Also keeps the excitement alive on the shop floor because our own salespeople, they are obviously looking at all the need evaluation of the consumers. But when you have two cars in the showroom, obviously both the cars attract you. So consumers tend to look at both and then take a decision.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, talking about the other car that you have, the Magnite, it's in a very competitive market. You know, the compact SUV segment, it's very competitive. Now, you can say you've been late to the party, or maybe you can say you only got one product. Do we see some more cars in that segment coming out from Nissan in the future? Because that's a highly competitive segment, something which, as you know, brutally, to be honest, in terms of the pricing, in terms of everything. Magnite, it has a lot of options, gearbox options, drivetrain options. But will we see another car over there?
Well, if you look at the Magnite, I think we were early to the party.
Okay.
When we launched it in 2019, December 2020 beginning, we were one of the few handful of BSUVs there. And the vehicle has consistently delivered over the last 5 years. That is the confidence that we get from the success of that car, that when we put in the new cars, with the right packaging, with the right value that we offer to the consumer, with the right ecosystem behind it, because you would have seen with the Gravite that it's not just a pricing, we are providing a full ecosystem, whether it's 100% financing, whether it's a 55-minute exchange, whether it's extended warranties, whether it's preventive maintenance packages which are there for the vehicle for 3 years, 5 years. It's a complete ecosystem that we are now working on. This is towards making sure that the consumer gets the confidence.
Okay.
Magnite's seen facelift last year late in October 24, and you saw that we introduced a left-hand drive variant along with it. Today, the car goes to 65 plus countries in its right-hand drive and left-hand drive avatar. Like you rightly said, it's a full-range SUV. When I say a full-range SUV, you've got 2 different engines, you've got 3 different gearboxes, you've got E20 compliance, you've got a CNG aftermarket kit. It's got all the bells and whistles, which is, again, for that money for value, for that consumer who wants to pay a certain price. In that price bracket, we are offering a full-scale option to him.
Okay.
So, obviously, the vehicle's undergoing through its life cycle, and in times to come, you will hear more.
Now, talking about the value for money question that you said, the Tekton,
Money for value.
Yeah, the money for value question that you said. The Tekton is a completely different product. It's a completely different segment.
Right.
Will we see something similar over there, or you have something else planned for that car? Will it make Nissan
I think
more
it's not too
aspirational?
far.
Because,
We should wait for that,
a lot of
because
people are waiting for that car.
you're right. The word aspirational is absolutely true for that vehicle, because the platform shared with the alliance partner, but at the same point in time, the styling is completely different. And we call it the baby petrol, because that vehicle's inspired by the petrol styling. It's a very bold looking vehicle, very dynamic. It'll set a benchmark in dynamic performance in the category, and that's what we're getting ready for. Obviously, it'll come with multiple exterior and interior combinations and variants, but we are not too far away from
I think you answered
talking about
my
that.
next question, which is specific to the Tekton. I mean, you can't give us all the details. I can expect the same engines, more or less, what your partner is offering. But can you give us some of the details, how it will be different from that car, how it will be different from the competition? Because that, again, is in a very competitive segment. The Hyundai Creta is there, the Kia Seltos, the Tata Safari we just launched, Sierra rather. So what makes that car different?
I think
just
what
give us
makes
some
that car
brief,
different, Ashish, is the fact that it's very fresh. In its styling.
Okay.
It's a styling which is cut through. The segment hasn't seen that kind of very smart, suave SUV styling. And truly it comes from the DNA that it carries with it, which is the petrol DNA. Petrol is the flagship from Nissan, and you will see that it carries that same DNA when we talk about styling. And it's not just a few things on the car, it's the complete packaging on the car, front to rear. When you will see the styling, it's completely with that DNA. I think that's very exciting when we show the car to the consumers. They get very excited with that. And in all our researches, when we presented the cars to the consumers, that's where the excitement begins, because the look of the car is very, very suave, and it's very, very exciting for the consumers, because they've been seeing a lot of cars. It's a very, very active segment, I would say. When I say active, it's got a lot of competition there. And consumers do want to see a fresh styling there. And that's where I think the first look on the car itself will be the differentiator. Of course, there will be lots of things that you will soon see, but that's where it will begin from.
Okay. Now let's talk about a policy question as well. BS7, as you're aware, it's just around the corner. It could be announced a couple of years down the line, maybe next year. Is it going to shift anything in your lineup, the product lineup? or is it a big challenge? How do you see it? Because it's going to be unusually fast for BS7 to come in, and it's going to be a tough law also in terms of the efficiency and stuff
I
like
think
that.
as far as BS7 Ashish is concerned, there are two things that we should be looking at. One is CAFE Stage 3, and then we should be looking at BS7. There are multiple discussions and dialogues which are happening with the government at various forums, but the industry will comply with it.
Okay.
It's a matter of time, but the industry is committed to complying with it. And there are multiple dialogues which are happening. So when I say industry, obviously, if you want to be in India, you will have to comply with that. So look at whether it's all the emission standards, BS 6.2, safety standards. Today, the Indian vehicles or the vehicles made in India are conforming to some of the finest standards in the world.
Yes.
And I will take you back to what we used to say with the Magnite launch, which is in the facelift, one car, one world, when we presented the left-hand drive and the right-hand drive. Today, we are able to take it to 65 plus countries only because of the fact that we meet these standards. We are a GNCAP 5-star rated vehicle on the Magnite. The emission standards are one of the finest. The safety standards, the equipment standards, they're one of the best and most competitive in the world. That is giving us the option to go to 65 markets. And the vehicle that we sell in India is exactly the same as the vehicle that we export.
Okay.
Which means that the Indian consumer today is driving what the other global consumers will drive tomorrow.
Okay.
And with that philosophy, I think the emission standards will be met by the industry. Matter of timing, but yes.
Now you mentioned the cafe norms which are coming in soon, and it's going to change a lot. Now, is it going to change your portfolio also, because a lot of manufacturers are now talking about EVs and hybrids and strong hybrids and stuff like that. So, do you see that you'll be forced to get those cars, or maybe some other EVs into India just to balance it out?
Well, there are multiple ways of getting there, and Nissan's working on all different options and possibilities at the moment. The government is yet to announce the final CAFE Stage 3, deadline and norms and actual numbers. But we are waiting for that. As soon as they are announced, Nissan will start talking about what is coming next.
Okay. Now, let me talk about electrification as well. You're one of the leaders, the Nissan Leaf, one of the first EVs across the globe, which was very successful. You don't have an EV at the moment in India, but do you think that you'll do something about it? Because there's lots of challenge about infrastructure and stuff like that. But some of the Indian car makers like Tata and Mahindra, they've already got very successful with those EVs. Do you think that Nissan could launch something? You don't have to be very specific, but you can tell us some details.
I think first thing is before Leaf, we made the Tama.
Correct.
So Nissan Tama happened in 1940s in Japan. And then came the Leaf, which was one of the world's first commercially produced electric vehicles. So as far as the technology is concerned, we have it, right? Whether it's EVs or it's hybrids or various other technologies, Nissan has it. We are already kind of evaluating multiple options for the Indian market at the moment. And as and when the timing is right and we are ready to talk about it, and you would have seen it in the last 2 years, we are talking only when we are ready, and when we are ready, we are showing you things. Correct. So as soon as we are ready and we are ready to talk about it, we're going to talk to you about the products.
Okay. And day before when I chatted with you, talking about service and how you're changing the outlook of the network and the dealerships and the used car, sorry, not the used car, but the service setup. What is Nissan planning to do about that? Because you said we're going to do a lot of different things. And you also said because the after sales experience really is something which customers, and I know that for a fact, because a lot of people in my circle who own a Magnite, they never complain about the service experience or the reliability of the car. So are you going to do something beyond what you're doing right now for the new cars that are coming in?
I think one thing that Nissan has consistently focused on is the service experience. However, now we believe that we are going from one segment to 4 different segments.
Correct.
Consumers are all very different. Their expectations are all very different. Some consumers will come on their own, some consumers will send their drivers, some consumers will ask for the vehicles to be picked up and brought to the service stations and delivered back, which means that we've got to get ready for catering to these 4 different consumer sets. Okay. We are upgrading a lot of our facilities in the service centers. We are also getting ready to cater to all 4 different vehicle types. And at the same point in time, the different consumer sets. Experience really matters because, as you rightly said, Nissan customers have a very good experience with after sales. And therefore, we want to make sure that we not only continue on that, but we enhance that further. Okay. A lot of our service centers are undergoing that change in that experience, upgrade in that experience. A lot of new technologies are being brought in. For example, we fully digitalized our complete job card opening process.
Okay.
So what could earlier, for example, in a body and paint, what could take you maybe half a day to make sure that everything is captured, you had an unfortunate crash, every part number is kind of figured out. It's all gone digital. It can be done in a very short time now.
Okay.
Same way, we're trying to make sure that the consumer experience in terms of booking, we've gone online in terms of booking. So you can book through the app and then come to a service station. You don't have your wait times are reduced. Your billing cycles are reduced in terms of timing. And also we are working on making sure that the overall experience at the workshop is also enhanced further for each customer who's coming in. This is the first aspect of experience enhancement.
Okay.
We are enhancing the total number of our workshops also.
Okay.
Till now, we were on a very humble number at 125 because we had just one model with one segment. And to be very honest, to keep the dealers sustainable, we were not asking them to expand because they had only one vehicle in the portfolio. However, now our dealers are expanding. By the end of financial year 26-27, we'll be close to about 230 to 250 sales outlets and upwards of 175 workshops.
Okay.
So, two-pronged strategy. In large metros where we were present, our density of presence will go up. So, therefore, the visibility of Nissan in large metros will be significantly higher. And you can imagine, we were not present in multiple parts of the country, but now we are going to be present in those parts of the country.
Okay.
This expansion is happening in all tiers, tier 1 to 4. We are going everywhere because the segments that we are entering cater to different tiers, and we are going to be present there.
Okay. Now, my last set of questions, I'll just roll it into
Sure,
one. How important is localization to stay competitive in India?
Absolutely
And
important.
also, do you see India becoming a hub for international exports for Nissan? Is that something that is a big priority for you, along with, of course, local sales?
So I think the first question first, localization is absolutely important because it gives you the benefit, especially with the scale that you have with local manufacturing. Number two, as far as Nissan is concerned, we are one of the top 5 exporters of vehicles from India.
Okay.
We are also exporting parts and kits from India. So we have multiple export vehicles in the portfolio. We export Magnite in left-hand drive, right-hand drive. We have the Nissan Sunny, which is still being exported.
Okay.
Of the 3 new cars, we are already defining the markets where we are going to go to. Like I told you, by the virtue of the fact that you meet the local consumer demand, their request or demand for feature sets, which is content, emission standards and safety that you have built into the vehicle to comply with the local laws of the land, it is giving you an international opportunity, and we are going to encash that. At the moment, Nissan in India is one of the largest export hubs after Sunderland in the UK for the AMEO region. AMEO is Africa, Middle East, India, Europe and Oceania. In this region, India is one of the key players as far as exports is concerned.
Okay.
And we continue with that. So we have a triple-pronged focus on the business. Domestic business takes absolute 100% priority. On top of that, we have the export business, and then we have the CBU business. So these 3 are the key fundamental pillars on which we have defined the business plans for Nissan in India, and we continue to focus on that.
Okay. Well, I think you answered all my questions. A lot of people are asking about the Tekton. I think all of them have also got...
well, Tekton's coming soon. Middle of the year, you will get to see the Tekton, feel the Tekton, drive the Tekton. So it's coming soon.
Well, so guys, if you're planning to buy a mid-size SUV, if you're planning to go to some other dealership and book a car, just hold on for another couple of months, maybe 3 months, and just check out the Nissan Tekton. He says it's going to be a baby petrol.
Absolutely.
So check it out, and after that, make your buying decision. Saurabh San, as always, a pleasure talking to you.
Same here.
Thank you
so
your
much.
time. Thank you.
Thank you.